Okay, we're on. Okay, welcome guys. We're back for another Tru-Mon show. It's a program double today. We're on twice, but this time it's with Mr. Santos Bonacci again. How are you?
Great, thanks, Yannick. Yourself?
Yeah, great as always. And girls, how are you again?
Good. Welcome again to the Tru-Mon Show, everyone.
Yeah. So I want to take the opportunity. It's a very great, good synchronization that I was sitting on my desk before and I was like, what a great synchronization. Ishtar holiday, Babylon holiday, to talk about it and for Santos to explain us how dirty Babylon is and all what Easter is all about, because a lot of people think that it's about picking up eggs and rabbits and stuff like that. Yeah, that's part of the tradition. There's something attached to it in that sense, but it's a lot more than that. So maybe Santos can instruct us on a couple of stuff that we might not know already.
Yeah, look, it'll be my pleasure. Hi, sisters. Amar,
Hello.
Jen.
Hello. So glad to have you back.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to come back as soon as possible to correct some of the misspelt words and some of the points I made last week. So I'll get to that eventually, but we'll deal with Babylon, shall we? And this festival called Easter. Easter means the Eastern Star. And
the Easter. Okay.
Yeah, the Eastern Star. And why is it Eastern? Well, because around Easter, around the equinox, the sun is perfectly in the east. Simple. So when we get the sine wave happening again, when you understand the wave, you understand all things. You must understand the wave, the sine wave. So equator, Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, and there's the wave. It's actually a torus field. It's a hyperboloid. It's the DNA, as you're going to see.
Yeah.
It's everything. This is Christ. This is Baal. This is Adam. This is Moses. Easter is here. So what we do with the sine wave is we bring it back around to itself, we put in the equinoxes, and we have the Holy Cross. And this is the holy sacred area that we're talking about where Easter happens. That's Easter there. This is Christmas, this is Ramadan, and this is Yom Kippur of the Jews. All festivals, all of them, all of them. All the holy ones are centered around these tropical points. That's Cancer because of the Tropic of Cancer. This is Capricorn, opposite, because of the Tropic of Capricorn. And here is Aries, the Lamb of God, and here is Libra, the scales of justice. And those are the 4 tropical points. And that's where every religious important festival occurs. The one we're talking about now is Easter, the Eastern Star. So these solstices, these are wave amplitude. This is where the wave, the sine wave, gets stretched out. So they are feminine signs, water and earth. This is the evil woman, Eve, the wave of Eve. See, the sine wave is the sin of Ave Maria.
Oh.
Is that where also come sinus? You know, in mathematics you have sinus and cosinus. Same thing from that too.
Yeah, sine, cosine. You see, when Eve sinned, she needed a co-sinner to sin with her. So she got her husband Adam, and this is Adam, because as Sosimos, the 3rd century Greek philosopher, said, here is the ascendant, here is the descendant, and this is the meridian line. That is Adam.
Yeah.
Okay? Adam and Eve, the wave. Ave Maria. Mare is Mars, maritime, marine, the waters. This is water, the waves of water. Everything is produced by hydrogen. Hydrogen is water.
And why do they use sinus and cosinus and mathematics? Because I know everything is inverted in the welder, but why do they take it, and what's the meaning of that?
Because simple, the sine wave goes back to sine and sin are forever conjugated in sense and meaning. Sinning means to take on this wave form, this vibration. We are vibrating in these bodies. Energy, frequency, and vibration, a la Tesla. This is the sin of Eve. It's the sine wave. We have come into the wave world, whereas we should be in the still world, Vrindavan, our home in the heavens, where there is transcendental motion, not this physical motion of vibration. Vibration is impure. Vibrating light, red and blue, red and blue, red and blue, is sin. White light is pure, Mary, the Virgin, magnetism. So when you look at the Vatican Square, and they've got a little obelisk. Well, it's not little; it's the biggest one in the world. They, I think Caligula or Tiberius stole it from the Egyptians. That pyramid. That obelisk, and brought it to Rome. Cost millions and millions of dollars, and how they did it was just one of the wonders of how they stole all the Egyptian obelisks and brought them to England, Paris, and Rome is just incredible. But what you have here, here's the Vatican here, the Vatican, and what you have here is you have four major monuments. And the sun and the road that leads to the Vatican is called I'll remember this road. I walked down this road in 2013 and explained this. You'll see a video on YouTube with me and some Italians, and I did it in English and Italian and explained this wonderful. This is the same as the English flag, okay, the Union Jack.
Yeah, I remember that in one of your videos.
Okay, if you understand this, you'll understand this is Easter. This is perfectly due east. This is perfectly due west. The Vatican is lined perfectly east-west along this road. La Via della Conciliazione. Hang on a minute.
La Via de Lucifer.
Sheila. See, you should keep talking about that more because it's important.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, let me show you this road, guys. And I ask people, please, to let me see if I can share screen. I just want to share my screen here because I'm going to be doing a bit of screen sharing today, guys. I'm sorry if I hog everything today.
No,
but
that's
okay.
great. Please do it.
I also, I mean, at some point we need to come back to what you were saying about Easter and how would it happen in the Capricorn and in the, well, I couldn't understand exactly what it means. And okay, it's the star of the east, but how is it connected to Babylon also?
Oh yeah, we'll get to that. Don't you worry about that, sister. Baby London. There's the connection. London is baby London, the child and first progeny of Rome. We'll get to that. Can you see my screen?
Yeah. That's cool.
Okay, you'll see if I actually enlarge that, you will see. I think there are along the side here where my cursor is. You'll see 12 pillars. 1, 2, 3. I counted them. They all count to 24 pillars, and it leads straight through. There's the obelisk in the middle. See that obelisk?
Yeah.
Okay, and there are 12. Actually, there are 13 statues on the top. Jesus with his 12 apostles on the top here, There's the dome. Make a note of that. And there are 24 of these pillars, like leading. They lead all the way down. And this road's called La Via della Conciliazione. Okay, let's go back now out of screen sharing.
It sounds like conscious, isn't that word?
Okay, tell me when you're back on me.
Not yet.
No. There you come. There you are.
Yes, hi.
All right. So what we saw, we looked down that way, and then we looked past this obelisk, and then we looked at the Vatican, and it had 12 pillars across the top here. It had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12 statues up here, and you would have noticed here there were some monuments. I asked people to have a look at a video called Christianity Revealed. It's a 10-minute video on YouTube. Christianity Revealed, Sun Worship. And you will see this is the Union Jack. Jack is Jacob, the Sun, the Christ, the Sun, the crested one, Krishna. All things go back to the Sun. All things.
You know,
Adam,
it's not something random that they say all road leads to Rome. Toutes les chemins mènent à Rome. My mother always said that. Yannick, toutes les chemins mènent à Rome. But I always wondered why people say that. Like, it's all in our face that we say. It's like the moonlight. We say that the moon has a light, but we argue that she has no light. Same thing for that.
Yeah, brother. So what happens now is here is north, and here is south. This is east, and this is west, as I put here, west. And this is pointing to Babylon. And see, we are now about here. This was the 21st of March, and also the 23rd of September. This point is in Libra and Aries. Now, this road here is called La Via della Conciliazione.
So when you say that point is in Aries, that means they constructed this according to the celestial movements.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
This is the union of Jacob. Jack jump over the candlesticks. Jack be nimble, Jack be quick. Jack jump over the candlesticks. These are the two candlesticks, the two equinoxes. 21st of March, vernal equinox. 23rd of September, autumnal equinox. This is where the sun is eastern star. Easter, the eastern star. That's where you celebrate the eastern star. Here in the south, this is winter. This is the 21st of December. The sun is heading this way now because we were here on the 21st. We are now here, and the sun is going this way to that solstice. When the sun rises in the morning, when it hits that solstice, a shadow is cast on this statue here on the promenade. They've got a curved colonnade here. Colonnade. There's Egyptian, there's Corinthian pillars here, and this is curved, and there's another curved one around here, and you can walk under this colonnade. Now, conciliazione means to reconcile. Please, let's have a look at this word. Conciliazione means to conciliation. You just have to replace that word with a T, that Z, and get rid of the final E, and you've got conciliation. Everything is reconciled here. This is the road of reconciliation, to reconcile the sun, to union Jack, to bring Jacob back into union. And so, in the evening, when the sun sets, the sun now casts a shadow over here. So at the winter solstice, in the morning, the sun hits, as it rises, it hits the obelisk, and the obelisk casts a shadow here onto that monument there on the 21st of December in the morning. In the evening, the opposite. It casts its shadow here
Oh, yeah.
3 months later, it goes back to the autumnal equinox, September 23rd. It hits the obelisk here and casts its shadow right in the middle of the Vatican. Goes right through the Vatican doors. The sunlight goes.
So the whole thing, the Vatican, the whole thing has to be positioned at that proper place exactly to have all those things aligned. Like everything is calculated for sure. No?
This is why we know we live on a flat Earth. This cannot be working on a wobbling, spinning, orbiting, rotating, flinging, hurtling system. It doesn't work. We are living on a non-stationary plane net. And so all monuments, the pyramids in the Angkor Wat, all of them are doing this. They're all doing this. They're all aligned to the equinoxes and the solstices. They're all uniting Jack. They're all conciliating the sun. It's all the sun. Everything is the sun. Everything. Radharani, Buddha, Adam, Moses, Abraham, Noah, they are all the sun. So
and
3 months later,
they are all men also.
No, yes, but that's only in this current system. In Japan and Egypt, the sun was always feminine. In Japan, Amaterasu or Kamisama or Amaterasu or Mikami is feminine. It's the sun. So sometimes Krishna, the crested one. See, Christ means crested one, like the chicken. The rooster has a crest. Well, the sun has a crest. It's what the queen, she wears a crown, doesn't she? There's the queen. She has a crown on her head. That's the crest. That's the sun, the crested one, the Christ, the christened. When you get christened, you get lightened by the light of the sun. Everything is the sun, but it's also the Queen of Heavens. The sun is not just the archetypes flip and flop depending on the tradition, depending on the school, depending on the mood. It's Radharani and Krishna.
Well, in most of the traditions, it's applied to the male, and all the way through, and that's why all the prophets are also male.
Yeah, in this current Kali Yuga and the patriarchal patrix system, yeah, but we know that the real system is the matrix, and it's Isis. The Milky Way is Isis. We come from the Milky Way, and we know that she is the mother of God. There's no mistake why the Catholics and all the other traditions have a mother of God. Matter, matrix, material, math, numbers. She rules with her numbers and her letters. Yeah. So 3 months later.
I just want to go over this real quick because I know people who are watching will say, how does that prove the Earth is flat? If it wasn't, so the actual Vatican is on a flat pavement, it's not curved, and they're saying if it was curved, if the Earth was curved, it would be curved too. The floor, is that right?
No, it doesn't have anything to do with the flatness of this particular St. Peter's Square.
It's like a sundial.
Yeah, this could be curved, this could be flat. It's got nothing to do with that. What I'm saying is, for all these to align, and the pyramids and all the other monuments of the world, for thousands and thousands of years, they all point due north, they all point due west, east, south, perfectly aligned to the equinoxes and the solstices. Stonehenge still lines up to the Avebury, still lines up to the equinoxes and the solstices. The pyramids in the Aztecs and the Mayan kingdoms, they still line up. They have been for thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of years. Why?
I see.
Because nothing. What moves is the apparent movement of the sun above our heads, which I will explain in a minute. So yeah, the point of that, how this proves that we live on a flat Earth is that if they made this, say, 1,000 years ago, which they did, or 500 years ago, this square, even in 500 years or 1,000 years, there would be movement if we were wobbling, spinning, orbiting, rotating, hurtling, and all of those movements that the Copernicans are trying to seduce us to believe.
The wobble, that's right. You're right.
These shadows would never be cast, even after weeks. After weeks, this would go out of sync. It must be that the Earth is firm, terra firma, stationary, and non-rotating, like all the great scientists have proven. Sagnac, Michelson-Morley, Michelson-Gale, George Airy, etc., etc. So 3 months after this point here, the sun then goes down to the summer solstice on June the 21st. And in the morning, on June the 21st, the sun hits the obelisk in St. Peter's Square and casts its shadow on this monument at the end of the pavilion, the colonnade here. And then in the evening, the sun's over here on the opposite side. It casts its shadow over here. Then 3 months later, as it journeys back to Easter, where the star is in the east, it casts its shadow here, and then in the evening, it casts its shadow here.
Which star? Are we talking about Sirius or?
The sun.
No, our sun.
Okay,
our
the sun. No, but you said there's a star. East star. You're talking about the sun.
The sun.
Okay.
So everything. It's the sun that's doing this. It's going from March to December. From September. Wait a minute. I think I might have done that wrong. March to June. So June's down here. Sorry, guys. Yep. Oh, I got that right. Okay. Yeah. So let's start again. Let's do this so that we are all understanding everything that's going on here, please. So the sun rises over here in the east and sets in the west. Yeah.
Yes.
That's where he sets, and he rises in the east every day. But he doesn't always rise at the same spot. The sun's always doing this every year. June, December, Cancer, Capricorn, Cancer, Capricorn, Cancer, Aries, Capricorn, Libra, Cancer, Aries, Capricorn, Libra. Those are the cardinal points. Card means and this is why the Roman cardinals, bishop, cardinal, pastor, all of these words come from the stars. Minister, moon star, cardinal comes from the stars. The cardinal sign. Cardo is a hinge. A door opens on a hinge. These are the four portals. The four horsemen of the apocalypse.
Cardiac, the heart, cardiology, everything it has to do with the heart. That's the same thing.
Yes, cardiac. Yeah. So the cardinal points, so when the sun is here in Easter, he's now, sorry, I got this wrong, this arrow before. See, these are the things that when you're not paying, see, I don't rehearse any of this. When I get on a show, I don't have any notes. I have never, ever, ever done one show in my life where I refer to notes. Never. It all comes from my heart, man. All of it.
There's no script here.
There's no script, but I got that wrong. In March, we're here, not here. We are going down. We are going up to June. Yeah. So you guys are starting to get hotter, and in Australia we are getting wet. We are getting colder. So when the sun is at Easter, and it's conciled on la via della riconciliazione, reconciled. Then it must go to the Tropic of Cancer, go back through Libra as it falls. This is a fall. The sun falls and it goes all the way to the December in the south. There's the south. South is this way. North is that way. Okay?
Okay.
And so you've got Easter, Ramadan. This is why the Muslims fast for a month, because Ramadan is all about mourning, because now the sun has to go all the way up here and it falls. The sun is now falling as it goes from north to south, from the Tropic of Cancer, it has to go to the Tropic of Capricorn, where it falls. So they fast for the sun. And then when it goes through here in Libra on the 23rd of September, the Jews mourn and fast, and they have what's called Judgment Day. Now, funny, now stop a minute. The 23rd of December is called Atonement Day. And it happens right there at the opposite date of the 21st of December, which ushers in Easter. Now stop for a minute. Atonement Day, and they also call it there should be an E in there, Judgment Day. Atonement Day and Judgment Day are one and the same thing. It happens on the autumnal equinox every year. Not every year, because the Jews go by the lunar calendar, so it shifts, like Easter shifts. Christmas is always fixed. Christmas is always fixed on the 25th of December. But these two dates here, Easter and Atonement Day, they're pinned to the equinoxes. This is why you always see a lot of people, you see people, especially around Hollywood, they always have the number 23 on their T-shirts. You always see, in Hollywood movies, you always see the number 23, 23, everywhere there's 23, everywhere. There's even YouTube videos explaining this phenomena about the number 23. It's because it's the equinox, and it's the Judgment Day. So in other words, it's saying, someone needs to mute out there, guys. I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
So what's actually going on? I think it's me.
Yeah, I think it's me.
So for people who don't know your studies and your work, who are watching, the whole entire religious system is based upon the movement of the sun and the moon, and all these days that people are waiting for, like the Judgment Day, has already happened. It happens every year, or almost every year. This isn't something that's going to occur. It's happening.
Judgment happens there. Why? Because this is the scale. Yeah, guys, you're going to have to mute out. Sorry, bros. Guys,
oh, okay.
I can't hear myself.
We can mute.
Yeah, that's it. That's better. So at one month, atoning for one's sins, happens here on September the 23rd. Because, and so you saw that other word. Why is this road here called the road of conciliation? Reconciliation. Because the sun is reconciled. Union Jacob. Jacob has been united. So Jack, be nimble, Jack, quick. Jack, jump over the candlestick. These are the two candlesticks. When Jack, the sun, jumps over, he is continuing to go around in his circle. As Jesus goes on the circuit of Galilee, Jesus is the sun. So let's have a look at that then, shall we? Why is it Judgment Day, since you asked that question? And see, East is pointing to Babylon, Yannick. That answers your question. Everything in Rome is a copy of the Babylonian system. Not that it's wrong, there's nothing wrong with it. Unenlightened people and churchgoers, they will tell you, oh, Babylon is evil and oh, there's sun worship. It wasn't sun worship. Maybe the uncultured ones were actually worshipping the sun to their detriment. But the enlightened, true enlightened ones that went through the mystery school, they didn't worship the sun. They worshipped what was back of the sun, the intelligence that put the sun there in the first place, the prime creator. All reverence goes, not to suns and moons and stars. No one is an astrologer so that they can worship the stars and, you know. You can preach this from the rooftops, they'll never get it. So when we go back to the wave now, equator, Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, and we put the wave in here, and then we bring the wave back in around on itself, and we do this, and so we've got equinox, solstice, June 21st, December 21st, and this is Judgment Day over here. See how they are equal?
Mm-hmm.
This is why the cross has two equal stems here, a short stem here, and a long stem here. Why? Well, because if you get an obelisk in the winter, in the summer, when the sun climbs up to Cancer, the shadow cast is very short. But in the winter, when the sun is here at the Tropic of Capricorn, and you have an obelisk, a sundial, you will have a very long shadow cast because the sun is low in the sky.
Never heard of that one. Never heard of that one. The shadow, the cross. I heard some stuff about the cross, but never in that way. It's
So when people say why are we having such bad feedback?
Yeah, something's wrong, isn't it?
I think it's Mar, maybe.
What is it? I turned everything. Huh?
You have to put earphones on.
Okay.
When people say, because I've been watching your stuff for years, and people say, well, there was a Jesus because there was many people who claim to have seen his death, and they were reporting it and reporting it and reporting it. How do you respond to that?
Well, how do I respond to that? Well, let's go to the Nag Hammadi Gospels that were discovered in 1945, 2 years before the Sinai text in 1947. And we have 11 books filled with Gospels to Jesus that predate the historical Jesus. And they saw St. Thomas there also. They saw Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and he was crucified. Yes, because this is what they are seeing. This is the gospel. See, gospel, everything begins in these four cardinal signs, everything. And here is the goat, and here is the Lamb of God. Aries, the lamb, is in charge of the equinoctial axis. The goat, Capricorn, this is the sheep and the goats, you know. And when Jesus says, I will judge, the goats shall go to the left, everlasting perdition, the sheep shall go to the right, everlasting life. So what we've got now is the goat, gospel. All the Gospels are true. Yes, they saw Jesus in a literary way, not a literal way, because Jesus, the Son of God, did not come into the body of a man, literally. He came transcendentally, literarily. And so what we have here is goat. This comes from, gospel comes from goat, spell.
Old spell.
How do I know? Because the Greek word for gospel is tragedy. You know what a tragedy is? The old plays, when you go to an opera, they were in Italy. They're called operas, or a tragedy. You go and you listen to a story about, Prometheus and his the end of his life, Achilles, and how he tragically died. A tragedy is a tragos udi. Comes from the Greek word tragos, a goat, and udi, ode. Ode to joy. An ode is a song. So a gospel, a goat spell, or a goat song, or God's spell, you can even put God there, God and goat, as many esoteric teachers have ever said, the lamb and the goat are always symbols for God. Goat is God, lamb is God. The tribe of Gad of the 12 tribes of Israel corresponds with Aries. Gad is God. God, Gad. It's the goat. It's the lamb of God. Because these two animals control the solstices and the equinoxes. And so this circle, this spell, this circle, circle just means Kirke, Circe, the moon, or the one who enchants. Church comes from here, and El, the god El, the circ El.
That's
So
why
when you have,
that's why we elect them. We don't select them. We elect them.
yeah, El, the elevated, elected
Yeah.
ones, elite,
Right.
El.
Elite.
Electricity.
Set elite. Same thing.
So these gospels, the Nag Hammadi gospels, they go back thousands of years. The Egyptians had gospels. The Hindus have gospels. The Mahabharata is a gospel. The Ramayana is a gospel. The Vedas are all gospels. There's 4 Vedas, yeah? 4 Vedas. You've got the Rig Veda, the Sama Veda. I forget the other 2. It's not important. There are 4 Vedas. How many gospels are there?
4. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Mark, Luke, and John. Bless this couch that I lie on. It's all literary. It's all poetry. It's Shakespeare, divine Shakespeare. There is nothing at all whatsoever. I mean, I'm preaching to the converted, to you guys, but I'm also extending this to the whole world. Time to wake up. Time for wakey-wakeys. Now, if there was a prophet and a wise man and a healer called Jesus, well, all the esoteric teachers have ever taught that if it was a historical one, it all goes back to Apollonius of Tyana. Apollonius of Tyana was the miracle worker, and all the Romans and there were temples dedicated to him. You know, so the Jesus that we get, according to Thomas H. Burgoyne, is a mixture of Horus of Egypt, Apollonius of Tyana, and the sun. It's the sun.
So Zeitgeist, the movie, was based on a lot of facts like this, right?
Yeah. Look, Zeitgeist is about 1/1 billionth of my work. If you look at my work, it's Zeitgeist on steroids.
True. That is true. I have to watch stuff over and over.
Zeitgeist once, and then leave it, and then move on to Syncretism and Astrotheology and my work on the ecliptic, because no one else has ever done it. I don't know why. They missed the boat. I didn't. I don't miss the boat. I'm always hopping on the boat.
Well, we're very happy to be on the boat with you.
I'm so happy. If they're waiting for Christ to return, they're also waiting for the Antichrist. So who's the Antichrist in the stars and planets?
And why are they waiting for an Antichrist?
Well,
because it's in the Bible.
Like antediluvian, means before. So the before Christ. Who's the before Christ? Well, I'll tell you who the before Christ is. The Antichrist is all of those corporate corpse organizations that call themselves Christians. They are the Antichrist because they come before the real Christ. When the real Christ comes, then the Antichrist must be destroyed because it is before Christ. It doesn't mean it's against Christ. Well, it is against Christ too. Anti can also means against. But most of your churchgoers are led to believe that it's some demonic entity. Well, it is, but they're seeing it literally because they're not understanding that Antichrist means before. And so when that one comes before in place of Christ, which is the Catholic Church and all of its infrastructure and all the Protestant churches, then we will know when the Christ comes. We won't see him in the clouds because even the scriptures, the Gospels say, do not be looking here. He will not come with striking observableness. He will come with his parousia, his presence, which means the consciousness will descend upon mankind and we won't have to ask, hey, is that Christ that's just come, or is that him over there, or is it that bloke over there, that guru who says he's Christ, or hang on, there's another guy over there and he says he's Christ, and David Icke said he was Jesus once, and another guy over there. You won't be asking these questions. When the Christ comes, the Christ comes.
Mm-hmm.
And this Antichrist will be obliterated.
Right. And then when it talks in the Bible of Christ coming in the clouds and the people be taken away, I mean, that's all very taken literally. And that's the one thing I don't understand how to explain in a non-literal way.
Okay. Yeah. Good questions. These are all good questions.
Bob is saying everybody think good God will come from the sky and stuff like that, so it's the same thing.
It talks about the rapture and all that. So,
if you look at esoteric literature like Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel, you'll see that God is in the shape is inside the cerebrum. God is inside the cerebrum. The Bram is Sarah Abraham.
mm-hmm.
The ram of God, Aries. Aries is the first sign, and it's in the head. It's the cerebrum. The bull is the cerebellum. At the back of the neck here, you have the lower brain. The cerebellum, the cerebellum. The cerebrum is the ram, Aries. And so these are the clouds. The cerebrum looks like clouds.
Oh.
And the Lamb of God, Aries, is coming in the clouds. In other words, here, from the claustrum, just underneath the cerebrum, is the claustrum, the Santa claustrum, Santa Claus. And there is... Sorry?
I just said okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And there is a secretion which comes from here, and it's called the chrism. So the Santa Claus produces little gifts that go down the chimney. You see, the chimney is the spinal cord and the ida and the pingala nerves, and they cross and they go down. And so when the Santa Claustrum produces the chrism, which is in Greek Christos, Christ, this fluid, which is like the manna from heaven, it's white, it's a beautiful fluid, it gets differentiated in the third ventricle. At the pineal gland, it is turned into a positive fluid, and in the pituitary body, which is feminine, it's turned into a negative fluid. And so that beautiful fluid is differentiated into positive and negative, or masculine, feminine. The pineal gland is Joseph, the pituitary body is Mary. Joseph and Mary, the two progenitors of the Christ, the chrism, the fluid that descends, goes down to the sacrum, and the sacrum is a pump, and it pumps the oil back up the spine. When it goes through all the chakras, and it returns to the third ventricle. Once it returns to the third ventricle, it crosses the medulla oblongata, and at the top of the medulla oblongata is where the vagus nerve crosses the pneumogastric nerve, the nervous system that feeds all the vital organs. Once the oil intersects that, it is crucified, and then that oil commences to vibrate 1,000 times higher than before. It goes into the fornix at the back of the third ventricle. It sends an electrical signal through there. After 3 days, that electrical charge commences to produce in the pineal gland a very, very special fluid called the blood of the Christ. And all of the dormant brain cells in the cerebrum are activated, and you have the higher mind activated. And this happens every month when the psychophysical germ is planted in your solar plexus from the sacrum. So the fluid remains in the sacrum, and it gets turned into sperm, the sacred fluid of life in the man. And so every month when the moon transits your sun sign, in my case Aries, when the moon is in Aries, in my womb, in my spiritual womb, in my solar plexus, a psychophysical seed is born. It's called the Christ. And you get 13 of these every year. Every year, 13 Christs are birthed in your womb. Whether you're a man or a woman, you have this spiritual womb in your solar plexus. And if you look after that seed, for those 3 days of the transit of the moon in your sun sign, then what occurs is you are able to ascend that Christ. This is what the ascension is about, the rapture. You are ascending the Christ through the chakras, and you're allowing the Kundalini energy to elevate that Christ. And once it goes through the throat here, the throat chakra, it enters into heaven. This is the dome of heaven, the dominus, the dome where we rule from. And because Aries and the bull are the rulers, this is why Krishna is always with his bulls. Why is Krishna always with his cows? Well, we're going to see that in a minute when I share my screens. We're going to show about these animals' symbology. So let's go to that, shall we? I've got some nice little things to share with you now.
Yeah, it would be interesting to look at the animal symbology too in astrology, where it come from and all that. If you can.
Can you see that?
Yeah. Oh,
We'll
okay.
just see your face right now.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm sharing my screen, so tell me when you can see my PowerPoint presentation.
We're seeing it.
You are seeing it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cows and lambs. Cows and lambs. I wonder what these cows. Why is Krishna always there playing his flute, and he's always got cows? And there's always lambs too. You won't see it much in Krishna art, but you'll see in what you'll see in Christian art. And these slides come from my PowerPoint presentation called All is Atum, Atomic Theology, Atomic Language. So in Christian art, you'll see this lamb. You see the lamb? Jah, the ram.
There's no, I don't see the screen. Do you guys see the screen?
Jah, the ram.
Yes,
like
I
that.
see the screen.
Jah, the ram.
Oh, I don't see it. So, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just don't see it.
Okay, well, we're just going to have to trust that it's being recorded correctly, and so that people can see it at home. But see the lamb there? There's Agnes with the lamb, and Agnes, Saint Agnes means lamb. Please read what's written there, please. There's the lamb. Now let's go to the cow, shall we? Let's start from here. Now, I haven't released this presentation yet, but it's coming. I'm just about to finish it soon. Matter. Matter is backwards for Atam. Atam is Adam. And matter in Sanskrit means cow. Cow is Taurus, and Taurus fields are the wave modality, the wave field, the wave form that produces all forms. So you can see there matter, atam, backwards, atma, which means the soul. All souls come from these torus fields, these matters. And so when you look at the flat earth disk, when you look at an astrolabe, you will see that this disk here, this one here represents the earth, a flat disk. It's called a matter. All right? Now, this is what the matter is, these torus fields. You'll see them everywhere.
Yeah.
Here you see a two-dimensional torus field called a hypotrochoid. And I'll ask people to check out the work of Ken Wheeler on his YouTube channel called Theoria Apophasis. And you will understand about the hypotrochoid. And this is one of his depictions here, the hyperboloid. And he is saying that all matter does this. It has a hyperbolic shape, an hourglass. You can see the hourglass there, okay? And you can see the torus field. The hourglass and the torus field are one and the same thing. Now, in the middle here you see, can you see this, guys?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This red thing? Well, this is a minimal cross-section of what's to the right, the hyperboloid torus, the hyperboloid torus. There it is there. And you'll see it looks like a tornado, it looks like a funnel, looks like an hourglass with a field around it, like a donut. And so this is Stan Tenon's hand. You can put your hand in this, you put your thumb in the middle here, in the middle of this axis here, and then your four fingers are wrapped around this part here. And this is everything that is going on. If you have a look at this apple here, have a look at this apple. Can you see where this hand fits in the apple?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, now can you see them in the middle of the apple? There is a disc. This is the flat Earth. This is what we are living in, guys. We are living in an apple. The dome is an apple. Apollo is the god of the apple. The apple is the hyperboloid Taurus. Here is Frank Chester's work and the Chesterhedron. It's the shape of a bell. The bell is Baal, Belus, the god Bel. That's why you always have bells in church, because that's where you go to worship Baal, the sun. It's the Holy Grail. See the cup here, the Holy Grail. It's an upside down bell, Baal, the bell. Now this is very interesting because, sorry?
I was going to say, even the very elect shall be deceived.
Exactly, and they're getting deceived by literalisms and false prophets.
Well, I have to ask one thing, because someone that was talking to me yesterday that is an expert, according to himself, about these things, was talking about the torus fields and telling me that there is no way we can be living on a flat earth because everything has a torus field, and because of that, earth has to be a circle, not a circle, what do you call it, a ball, and for the energies to go from the top to the bottom, like the picture on the right that you have here. That's the only way, and that's why Antarctic, there is an Antarctic treaty, and also the North Pole, they won't let you go because you go into the torus field from there, and that is a complete indication that we live on a ball.
That's what he said.
Yes.
Okay, well, we're going to fix that right now, right here
Please,
and now. So,
thank you.
no fear. We'll fix these materialists. Their minds are material, and it's very, very sad. Can you see these? This bull here, Apis?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. This is the same as Serapis, the Egyptian sun god. The bull is always considered to be the sun god because the sun is inside the torus field of the apple of Apollo. It's always an apple. That's why the apple has a core. Core is the same as cardiac, the heart. In the heart of an apple, in the heart of the man, here you'll see a core, a heart. And the heart is in the center of the torus field. And it's the same with the earth. You see, the apple, that's just another word for Apollo. The apple that Eve ate was the material apple of the torus field. And arbor, it's the same word, a tree. See, when we go back to this picture here, Stan Tenon himself, a Jewish scholar, says that this part of the hand, this is the tree of life in the center of the Garden of Eden. This is Mount Meru. This part of the apple is the core. The North Pole is the core of the apple, and the disc is in the center of it. It is exactly the place where we live. This is Yggdrasil, the tree of the Nordics, the tree of the Druids, Yggdrasil, in the center, Mount Meru, and this is where the sun is centered from this core. And so you see the bell in the churches. There's always a bell because the bell shape, as Frank Chester discovered with his Chesterhedron, is in the heart, and it is the Chesterhedron, the sixth polyhedra, and it turns out here is Molech or Baal or Bel, and it's in the shape of a bell, and it has a bull's head. So Bel and bull and Baal and El. Here is El with a bell on his head. Here's another one with the same torus-shaped toroidal hyperboloid head in gold because of the sunlight. Here again we have a Taurus, a bull. So you've got Taurus, Apis, Apollo, and bull, Baal. Here is the dome, which is the apple. And inside the dome, this is how it works, guys. Dominus. Who is Dominus? It's Jesus, the Lord. Dominus. Domenica. Domenica is the Italian word for Sunday. Sun. Can you see the halo, the sun around Dominus's head?
Yeah.
Jesus. Can you see the same halo around the head of Apollo? Can you see here the halo, the sun god? Can you see the apple of Apollo? It's the Taurus field. You see he's playing a harp because he's the god of music. This is the music of the spheres, of Plato. And here he is again being drawn by horses, Horuses. Horus is the sun, the four horsemen of the apocalypse. The sun is turned around gyroscopically around Mount Meru, clockwise, hence all clocks go clockwise because so does the sun. So does the sun. And so here we see the apple of Apollo that we live in. Here we see the Thunderdome.
So,
Who is
Santos,
Yep.
is it why they make us spin backward? In their stupid stuff, they make the Earth spin backward because everything is going clockwise, but just to confuse us more, they put the spin backward.
Yeah. Well, there are times when the sun stops and turns the other way, rises in the west, sets in the east. This, according to some Greek historians, for instance, Berosus, I think, and Manetho, Berosus, and who's the other famous Greek historian who's the father of history, they call him, not Thucydides, the other one. Anyway, he went down to Egypt, and the priests there at the Temple of the Sun at the city of On, told him that they have records of this happening 4 times in their history, where the sun has changed from east to west setting and west to east. Now, most of you materialists who are pseudoscientists will say, oh, well, that means the Earth has to stop spinning, and then the oceans will cause tsunamis, and how does the sun, how blah, blah. It's easy. It's easy. The sun is just an effect. It's like when you get a magnifying glass and you focus all that light onto something 1 or 2 meters away, a bit of paper, you can burn that paper because you're focusing that light with coherent light. And so that's how the sun is. The sun is not actually a solid object. It is an effect of other rays that are beamed onto it. And so it's easy to stop that beam as the sun is traveling 1,000 miles an hour in the sky. It's easy to stop it in its tracks and just shoot it the other way. There's no harm done. There's nothing. No one suffers. It's just all you do is you stop the dial in the middle and turn the other way. Simple.
So what do you mean that it is the effect of other lights?
Well, it's the effect of something happening locally. The sun may actually be encased in some sort of a glass structure, or it might be reflected off the dome, the glass of the dome, the crystalline sea. It's a glassy part of the sky, of the starry heavens, as it gets projected from Mount Meru. Mount Meru is this magnetic mountain, or this tree that we've just seen in the heart of the apple, which is controlling the sun. As I showed last week in the show, the sun is turned around by Mount Meru, this magnetic mountain. It's a magnetic, counterspatial, inertial. Let me get the correct expression for this. Just bear with me one moment. Dielectric inertial plane. So our Earth is a dielectric inertial plane. It's a planet. It's a dielectric inertial plane. See the work of Ken Wheeler. He doesn't subscribe to flat Earth at all, but I'm adding to his work. He has discovered how magnetism works, the first person in history to do so, and he does it quite simply on his YouTube videos. And magnetism is, and what we think is gravity, is a movement towards counter space. In the center of all so-called atoms and planes and anything, even humans, animals, all objects, is a counter-spatial dielectric inertial plane. Now, I'll explain that in a minute, but for now, let's just get through this. Can you see Apollo here? Thor with his hammer, with his thunderbolts, the thunder dome. The dome, the thunder that we hear in the sky is caused by Thor, and that sound of thunder is an atomic word, thun, T-U-N, atun, thunder, because this god, the sun, is in the dome, in the apple of Apollo. Here we go again. Here is, look at these words. Taurus, tornado. See the tornado here? Here. Yeah, this is all magnetism, guys. And so we see an apple. There's the other apple. You see the hyperboloid working with the Taurus, the apis, the apple. And so this is what Ken Wheeler says in his book Magnetic Secrets Discovered, something like that, I forget the name. He says magnetism is dimensional. The dielectric is intradimensional, or in counter space. And only when these two ether fields move against each other, then there is electrification, which is the ether in a modality of dynamic polarization. Simple. When the hyperboloid is interacting with the dielectric inertial plane, which is basically, you've got two fields working against each other here. What you can see here is you can see centrifugal divergent waves and centripetal convergence interlaced and what's the word? Conjugating, as Dan Winter calls it. They are conjugating waves. So you've got centrifugal divergent waves and you've got centripetal convergent waves. And this is how everything is. Everything is torus. Everything's toruses, guys. And our system is no different. See here, this is the true system here. This picture explains everything. Here is the plane we live in. It looks like all of the galaxies that we see. They are apples. They are bubbles. They are eggs, golden eggs. And the gold comes from the sun in the center of each of these. And there are billions of these universes and apples. And you can see the tornado going down the center of this apple. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Well,
that's
isn't that what the concave earthers believe? That's such a thing.
Well, yes, because what's concave is below. What is above is the same as what is below. So that tree extends downward to the 7 subterranean planets.
Oh, that's awesome.
Have a look at these words here. Dominus, the dome, the Lord, the Sun. Everything is the Sun, guys. And the dome is the Father, the Dominus, the Lord, and the Sun is the Sun. That's why it's called the Sun. Because the dome is the Father, and the Sun is the Son, and the air and the magnetism that it works through is the Holy Spirit. Period.
Dominion.
And so,
and the Holy Spirit is the mother.
Yes, yes.
That's why that's why Santos, we've been given dominion over all things, and we're not using our consciousness properly, but dominion, same thing from there.
Exactly, brother. Exactly. Taurus, torso. We already saw torso back here. Look at that. There's the torso in the Taurus field. Why do they call it a torso? Why do you go walking around with a torso? Because you are a tornado. You are a Taurus. Taurus is just, look at the words Taurus. It's an anagram of torso.
That's why they call it our torse, le torse en français, ça s'appelle le torse. This region, I don't know what it is in English, I think it's the same thing, torse. But...
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
torso or thoracic spine.
Yeah.
Okay. Torah, tornado, torch, tort, torque, torpedo, torrent, torrid, torture, torment, torpid, torsion, torneo in Spanish is like a tour. Torneo, torch, turret, turn, turmoil, turbine, tour, tor as in T-O-R-R, terror. There you go. Look at the earth. Guys, have a look at this word, please. Stop here.
Yep.
Terror.
Terra.
Please understand what's going on here. Terra is Torah. It's Taurus. It's an apple. There's no mistake about this, guys. We have the true cosmology. We've got it down pat. Right here, right now. Terrible, terrific, terror. Why are all these scary words related to the Taurus? Because it's terrible. It's terrific what the Taurus can do. It's terrible. It is torment because the Taurus takes us from the world of peace and unity with our Creator, Krishna, and brings us into the world of Brahma, of demons and demigods and hell and purgatory and paradise and torment, etc., etc. And then finally, here we have, this is the key to the whole thing. If you stop here, you'll get it. Dan is Adan. Another way of, that's the Japanese way of saying Adam. And in Japanese, man is Dan, D-A-N, DNA. Dansei. In Japanese, if you want to point to a man and say the word man, you say Dansei, Dansei. Stop there and think about that one, guys. Everywhere in the world, a man is Dan, a damned one, a demon, a Adam, demigod, Adam. And we have, and so we see here the dome, same letters, M and N are interchangeable, so a dome is the same as saying DNA, and DNA is actually, well, let me find that, I've got so much stuff here. Just wait till I release this. Once I release this, it'll be all over for the materialists, guys. They'll have nowhere to run. Nowhere.
I've been saying on my videos that they're hiding a metaphysical universe.
A what?
I've been saying they're hiding a metaphysical universe.
Yeah, they are. Here we go. Have a look at Dan. Dan is another atomic word. Dan, D-A-N. You've got 4 versions of it here. You can spell it 4 ways. D-A-N, DNA, and NAD. Now, please study this this here, and you will understand all things. All things. Adan is DNA, and is andros. See, andros, Andrew. What does Andrew mean?
Manly.
Manly. And it comes from the word hand, just as the word man comes from manus, the Latin word for hand, because it's the hand that defines us. Remember that little hand instrument that Stan Tenen made with the apple? The hand thing? Right? Well, we come from the hand. Handy Andy. That's why a man is handsome. Man is made from sand, land, he can stand. All of these words have atom in them. Right? And so that's what we're looking at here when we're looking at the DNA. We see DNA, we see the donut. Why is it called a donut? Don, everything is atom. All things are atom. When you look at percussive instruments, let's have a look at percussive instruments, shall we? Sure. I can't wait till I release this presentation. It's going to blow the top off every materialist's brain. Look at this. Can you see that? What's that called?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tom-tom, atom. Atoms are everywhere. Tam-tam, this is called a tam-tam. This is called a dun-dun. This is called a timbali. Cymbal, tambourine. Italy, timpani. Trombone, drum, strum. There you go, when you strum an instrument. Tabla, tuba, gong, bongo. Tumbadora, here we go. Look at these Cuban instruments. Tum, tum, atom, everything. Dumbek in Egypt. Dum, djembe in Africa. Trumpet, trombone. All music, all sound, God is sound, is atom. All is atom. There's nothing but atom in the universe. And what is atom? It's Adam. And what is Adam? The dome. And what is the dome? The apple of Apollo. The bull of the Taurus, of the apple of Apis, of the arbor, which is the tree. All right, we got the point, haven't we?
I
Tough
think
gong.
so.
Tough gong. From there too. Bob Marley, tough gong.
It's a very bad
Yeah,
echo.
Yeah, you actually have to mute, but it's pretty much impossible. I think we're going to have to put up with it. Just try and put your volumes really, really low. Now, how do I get out of this?
This is incredible.
All right.
I'm so glad I came on tonight.
It is incredible, and it's so easy to do, Jen. All you've got to do is pay attention. We've all got it in us. Where did it come from with me? I mean, I don't know. Past lives, who knows? I don't care to inquire. All I know is that I know it, and it's syncretism, and it is our true science. There is only syncretism. Going back to Babylon, brother, I want to explain something else here, which is very, very important, because Babylon is the key here, Baby London. And Baby London rules us with admiralty law, yeah? Admiralty. Admiralty means water. Adam means water. Adam and Eve, the wave. We already saw that. We don't need to doubt our thinking process, because it's all atomic. Everything is atom, as the Egyptians said. All is atom. When I release this presentation, it will be called All is Atom. So I can reverberate the words of the Egyptians for hundreds of thousands of years that they've been saying this. All is atom. There's nothing that is not atom. And so, and this presentation will prove it. Don't doubt. There will never be any more doubt. All right, let's have a look at some of these words about Babylon, shall we?
Yeah.
You see, admiralty law, where does it come from? Well, it comes from Venice. Oh yeah, Rome and the Venetians. The Venetians are the Phoenicians. The Phoenicians are the Canaanites. And this is the word we need to focus on. We've been warned against having dealings with the Canaanites. Be careful when you go into the land that I shall send you, that you do not worship the gods of the Canaanites. Well, this word, this root, is from Cain, and from Canaan, the son of Noah, son of Adam. Remember, Cain killed Abel.
Canine comes from that too.
Exactly. Because in Latin,
Cannabis.
cannabis, we'll get there. Yeah, you're right on the money. Cain is dog, and when you put an R in there, C-A-R-N-E, you get flesh. They are the fleshly ones. The carne, dog, carne, flesh. This is where you get words like chili con carne. Right? Well, that means with flesh. That's something you're cooking that has flesh in it. Carnival. Well,
Carnivore.
yep, cannibal. Cain and Abel. And
it's all in the vocabulary. It's terrible. It's all in.
Cain and Abel. See, if you can and you are able, this is what cannibal means. Cannibal means one who eats their own flesh, right? Well, where does it come from? Well, the word cannibal means the priest of Baal, because Can is in Jewish you've got Cohen, which means priest class. You've got in Latin con artist, con, can, Vatican. What? That can is the same as that can. Vatican means the priest of the serpent, or the serpent diviner, priest, priest of Baal, cannibal, cannabis. See the word abyss? That comes from Apis, the bull. Now, why am I doing all this? Why am I going round and round in circles? What you said before, what did you say? Carnivore? Who said that?
Carnivore.
Carnivore?
Yeah.
Carne. Carnival. What do you do at a carnival? You eat a lot of flesh. Carne. To Baal. Festival. A feast where you eat a lot, like a breakfast. When you have a breakfast, the opposite of fasting is feasting. So a festival is where you eat a lot of flesh to Baal, just like a good little cannibal. You see, this is why we are told. This is why we are told, don't go following the Canaanites, because they are fleshly. Now, does that mean that Baal is a bad word? Well, what's this word here? Do you know the name of Christopher Columbus? That's his real name.
Cristobal.
Christ and Baal, it's the same thing. You look at pictures of Baal and you look at pictures of Christ, it's exactly the same thing. So what have Christ and Belial got to do with each other, as the scripture says? What fellowship does Christ have with Baal? Well, it's the same thing. Cristobal Colon. Christ and Baal. And so this Baal thing, there's nothing wrong with this, but it's the carne, the flesh, and the dog. See, the dog and the flesh, dogs eat flesh, right? Yeah. So a carne will eat carne. A canine will eat carne. Carne. And so this is why in the land of Canaan, where they are eating flesh, we've been warned not to eat flesh. Have a look at all these so-called Christian churches. They're all flesh eaters. The Muslims, they're all flesh eaters. This is totally an aberration. It's disgusting. It's demon worship. It's the filthiest, evil, putrefying, disgusting practice that any human can ever practice. To murder a sentient being and put their putrefying corpse, albeit cooked with seasoning and salts and peppers and whatever into their intestines, to pollute their blood with the blood of the Canaanites. This is why we have to watch out for
Santos, just to make a little interruption, people don't seem to be allowed, when it comes to we're not really made to eat meat eaters, so it's like, just look at your biology and realize that not eating.
I cannot hear anything you said.
Very cool, huh?
The only one who's not echoing is Santos, so maybe it's a sign that we just need to let him talk through the whole thing.
No. I'm done. I'm pretty much done. So if you've got questions, we can do those. But, oh, no, I'm not done. This is the whole reason why I wanted to come back on this show.
You had to do some correction, you said.
Yeah. So last week, we were having a look at the flat Earth, the true disk Earth, and so there's the plane that we live on, and we have Mount Meru in the center. Let's make it like the tree that we've just learnt about in the apple. So that's our dome, guys. That's Mount Meru here in the center. This is our Earth here, and the sun's going around here clockwise at the Tropic of Cancer. Here's the Tropic of Capricorn. Here's the equator. And please study the analemma.
Say that again.
The analemma.
Yeah.
Please study the analemma. This is the figure 8 that the sun makes every year in the sky. The analemma proves that we live on a flat Earth. We'll get to that in a minute. So, as the sun does small circles at the Tropic of Cancer, it actually grows and does bigger circles at the equator. So we're right here now, March the 27th, and we're going to go up to June the 21st, here. And that'll be summer. And so, as the sun goes down, it makes bigger circles when it gets to the Tropic of Cancer here on December 21st. Cancer, Capricorn, Cancer, Capricorn, Cancer, Capricorn. The sun is making a pyramid-shaped TP vortex in harmony with this apple every year. The moon, she does an upside-down vortex like this every month. She does 13 of these every month. So these are the nodes. That'll be the node. This will be the node. The north node, south node.
There's something, Santos, that I really have problem wrapping my head around is what regulates the temperature on Earth. Like I look at the sun, almost over me now. There's not much difference from now to June, like in the sky. Like what regulates the whole? Like it was super cold here yesterday, and today it's 14 degrees. Like it can be only the sun that regulates the temperature.
All right, let's have a look at that in a minute. Good question. I'll make a note there so I don't forget. So here, the word that I showed last week should have been this word. I wrote it like this.
Aphelion.
I wrote it with an M. Apohelium. It's not, it's apohelion. Helion is the sun. Helium is also an element from the sun, but that's wrong. So last week, I hope I didn't confuse too many people, but when you look at this word, and then this line here is perihelion. Helion. Peri means close. Apo, in Greek, apo means away or far. Close, far. Now, isn't it funny that 2 weeks after December 21st, January 4, so let's go from January 1st to January 4, is perihelion. January 4 now is considered to be perihelion, the closest the sun gets to the Earth. In the heliocentric model, they say that the sun is 4 million miles closer to the Earth. And then here it is 4 million, aphelion, it is 4 million, around about 4, between 3 and 5 million miles further away from the Earth. The point I was making is this. If you go to Wikipedia, if you just want to do a superficial search, and you put these words in, you will learn a fact. And the fact is this. that all scientists, whether they are geocentrists or heliocentrists, ball earthers or flat earthers, they all agree that the sun is variable distance from the Earth. So let's not talk about that anymore. I mean, right now we can talk about it. You know, we can elaborate and explain all this, but this is what confuses many people. How can it be that the sun is doing 24-hour circles here, and it's always doing 1,000 miles an hour? Or well, it's not actually. It appears that way, like I explained last week. Here, this is more than double the distance that the sun has to do. Well, let's explain how that works then, shall we? Let's say I have a torch in my hands. This is a torch.
Yeah.
And I'm standing like this with the torch. And I'm shining to the ground 4 meters in front of me. Now, as I shine on the ground and I turn like this, and I count to 5, 3, 4, 5. I'll do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I keep going around like that. Right here where my hand is, this torch has travelled only 1 meter. But over there, if the radius of my circle is 5 meters, then you multiply that by 3.14, and that's about 16 meters. So the light at the end of the torch has done 16 meters. The torch has only done 1 meter as I go around. Okay, so the sun is actually driven by this magnetic mountain here. This is the dielectric inertial plane. The Earth is the dielectric inertial plane. Dielectricity means opposed to electricity. It is dielectric, opposite dia. And so
that's why you dial your telephone?
Yeah, so if the sun is, say, here, going around, this here turns around, does 1 revolution every 24 hours. Whatever it is here, whatever it is, this tornado, the center of this apple that we live on, is turning. And so when the sun is here, it's still doing 24 hours, and when it's here, it's still doing 24 hours, but it's covering more area. Appears to, does it not? Okay, so let's transcribe this to a flat plane. So here's the Earth from above. Here's the Tropic of Capricorn. Here's the equator. And here's the Tropic of Cancer. And there's the North Pole. There's your bullseye. Well, I could have done better than that, couldn't I? So we've got Cancer, equator, Capricorn. And this is the South Pole. This is the North Pole. So, and I hope you pull up images of the analemma, because the analemma is pretty much doing this. You see, the analemma is wider at the bottom and thinner at the top. 16 degrees at the top, 32 at the bottom in width. 16 degrees of latitude, longitude. See, these are your longitudinal lines here. You need 24 of these. 24 elders, 24 hours. And so here it's 16 degrees, and here it's 32 degrees. Can you see why? It's pretty easy.
Yeah, it's larger.
Doesn't it look like a dartboard to you?
Yes, it does.
It does. Yeah, the reason why it's wider here is because obviously, if you take the measurement from here all the way to here, you will find that this is probably in the phi ratio much longer than this, and that's because the sun, as it goes round in this direction above the Earth, it is making a much wider arc travel, you see. And so your question about the temperature, eh?
Yeah.
Remember that one? Right. Well, when the sun, so Australia is down here on below the equator, if you want to look at it that way, and so the Americas will be, say, up here in sort of North America will be north of this equator line here. And so when the sun is at the Tropic of Capricorn, all of these Arctic, Antarctic, see that's the Arctic, and this is the Antarctic, right? So when the sun is in this region, we are getting warmth in the outer ring of the Earth. And so as the sun then climbs up the Analemma and it goes up to the Tropic of Cancer, and now the sun is here doing small circles around Norway, very high in the sky. Remember, the sun is high up in the sky above the flat Earth. Here's the flat Earth here. There's the Tropic of Capricorn. There's the equator. There's the sun. The sun is doing that every year. And so that's why you can see the midnight sun in Norway. Always you see the midnight sun, because it's high. You can't see it in the Antarctica because it's too low. And so it goes beyond our point of perspective, the horizon, the convergence point, and we don't see its light anymore. So when the sun is here, all of this area now is warm around here, above the equator, inside the equator, it's all warm in the northern area, and here is cold. Outside is cold, but here is warm because the sun is here. You see? The sun is in here, and then when the sun is in the middle where it is now, it's equal. You guys are starting to get summer, and we are starting to get winter, but it's autumn over here, and it's spring for you.
Why they call it spring? Is it because the sun's coming back up? He's like springing? Is it has to do with that, or why spring?
Yeah, man. Well, let's have a look. Yep.
And he fall because he's falling back down to the point where he's gonna die in December.
So, Tropic of Cancer, small circles for the sun, ever increasing as it unwinds in its vortex. Tropic of Capricorn. So when it's here, it's the goat. Can you see why? Can you see why everything's a gospel, a goat spell, a tragosudi, tragedy? It's all a tragedy. Everything is a tragedy. Your life's a tragedy. You live for 50, 60, 70, 80 years, then you die tragically. So you had a bit of a tragic tragedy.
Experience.
And then here is Aries, the start of spring. Now, can you see a spring there? You can see a spring.
Yeah.
You can see a spring. The sun is in a spring. It's in a compression spring, and it goes up like this, and the moon does this. Every month she does an upside down pyramid. She goes up for 2 weeks, down for 2 weeks, up for 2 weeks, and when it's up, it's full moon. When it's down, it's new moon because it's in front of the sun.
And what about the phases of the moon?
I was going to ask that
It's our own light. I always thought, in my head, it's our own light doing that. But what about when she becomes red and stuff like that? Is it her sparking the energy back to it? Like, is it an old sun that died? how can you talk about the moon? We can.
The echo's really bad when you're talking.
You have to put a headphone on, Yannick. We can't hear anything you say.
Yeah, I must have a phone somewhere.
So,
A lot of people have asked me about the phases of the moon, and I cannot figure it out.
what you're going to find, discover is this: that the moon is actually getting a reflection of light from both the sun and the Earth disk. It's a combination.
So it's not its own source of light?
Well, it's very hard to tell because everything has its own light. My body is producing its own light, so is yours. We have our own torus field. We have, our heart is the sun inside of us. So we are a galaxy unto ourselves, but we can't see that light, right? So everything produces its own light, but it's clear that the moon is reflecting some light of the sun. But I believe that it's also reflecting some light of the Earth, and this is what produces the phases. Because
oh my God!
So let's do it on I was going to do it that way, but let's do it this way. So if the sun, there's the so let's put the Tropic of Capricorn around here, and Cancer and Equator. So let's say the sun is about here, and the moon is, say, here. So over here she'll be full, and over here she'll be quarter. Should I put it that way? Anyway, so because the sun is a spotlight, the sun is not illuminating the whole Earth. It's a spotlight. So when the moon is, say, conjunct the sun, we don't see the moon until she escapes that spotlight of the sun. And when she escapes the spotlight of the sun, then we see a crescent. See, the sun can only do so much light. So as it goes around, these people here are seeing the morning sun, the dawn, you know. And so as it pushes around, and the moon is also going around, but albeit slower than the sun, then she'll get swallowed up by the horizon eventually, because the sun is a little bit faster than the moon. And so as the moon, though, progresses, and she's on this side of the sun, what we're actually seeing is we're seeing light bouncing off from the sun onto the moon from the disk. It's bouncing off from the disk of the Earth and the water. That's what you'll find. So it's a combination of disk light from the Earth and sunlight.
How come it's cooler? How come the light's cooler than the sun?
Well, see, the sun is an anode and the moon is a cathode, and so that's how electricity works. Electricity works on vibration, yeah, frequency, energy, vibration, frequency, energy. So hot and cold are two polarities of vibration, and so they are doing, they're doing the anode-cathode work in the sky as they go around, and so her light is is cooling light, and the sun's light is heating light. It's just an effect in the atmosphere, really.
Yeah.
That's a different, completely different. I've never heard anything like this. This is really interesting.
Yeah.
I had a hard time thinking the light was coming from the moon, and because I was like, how could it shadow? That didn't make sense to me. But a lot of
well, you'll find that
are saying that it's coming from the moon.
Sorry, sister. Say that all again. I chopped you up. Excuse me.
A lot of the flat earthers have been saying that the light's coming from within the moon.
I believe that.
Yeah, she does generate light, guys. I don't know how much
she does.
because when it's dark, you can even see light. You can still see light from the dark side of the moon, from the dark half that's not illumined by the sun reflecting off the earth. Okay, it's a combination. You can tell because even when you look at where the sun is and you see the moon, you can see that the crescent of the moon is distorted in relation to the sun. It doesn't work. You can tell it's not directly the sun. It's not directly the sun causing that crescent on the moon because it's out of. What I mean by that is this. You'll find that
I don't understand this at all right now.
I kind of get it more, so I can kind of, if we spend some time together, I think I can explain it a little bit.
I follow.
When you look at when you see the sun and the moon in the sky together, pay attention, pay close attention, because if it's only the sun that is causing the light on the crescent moon, then this is what will happen. Okay, you'll see. You'll see that should be perfectly in line with the sun, that crescent. But it's not like that. It never is. Sometimes you see the moon like this.
That's exactly what I was going to tell you. The shape of the crescent is not always the same.
And so what is lighting up here?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What is it?
So it's bouncing off.
The moon is never, ever lined up perfectly with the sun. There is always something coming from underneath to light it up from underneath. Always, always, always. I've never seen the moon lined up with the sun. I look at the sun, and I look at the moon at quarter moon, and I'm thinking, they're not lined up together, man. They're not talking to each other.
Yeah.
Okay? So
and so the moon doesn't have the light of the sun.
well, it does. It is the sun causing the light, but it's reflecting off somewhere else and contributing to light it up from two areas. It must be from two areas. Could be more.
Could be more.
I don't know. I don't think anyone has the answer to that. I don't think anybody has the answer to that. But clearly,
Yeah.
all the spheres above us, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, all seven have their own light, and yet many esoteric teachers teach that they are refracted light. It is secondary light. It's not original source light. They say that only the sun has original source light, but I don't buy into that, because everything is a light body. Everything.
So it's like the sky blue is because of the sun that the sky is blue.
Yeah.
I think it
the blue is the hydrogen particles in the air and in the water beyond the crystalline sea, beyond the firmament. Beyond the firmament is the crystalline sea, which is crystals, water crystals, hydrogen, and so that's why it's blue. Blue is the color of Krishna. Krishna is the dome, and Krishna is also the crested sun. The dome is the
Well,
Father.
it seems that this whole conversation is going to the sun worship and sun being the source of all, and the Father and the Son in everything.
No, he's explaining
Well,
that the church is worshiping sun, and they've been lying.
that was the whole thing. That was about Babylon. They're sun worshipper for sure. That's their whole cosmology is based around the sun. So for sure, it's
Yeah. No, it's not sun worship. It is recognizing that all the archetypes go back to the sun.
Yeah.
What is worshipped by the intelligent ones is the power beyond the sun, the intelligence that created the whole system. You see? The sun is the sustainer, the life giver, therefore it deserves its respect in its place. But it's not worship of the sun. Many people fall into that trap. Don't fall into that trap.
Yeah, they've diminished the truth of our metaphysical universe, made it very material, and taught the story of a prophet named Jesus and all his disciples, when it means about the movement of the planets and the sun.
Yep, spot on, sister. And it's a moot point whether Jesus was historical or not, because we're all Christs, as it says in Colossians 1:26 and 27, 28, the sacred secret of the Christ within. Krishna dwells within, Vishnu dwells within, so does Buddha, so does Christ, so does Allah, and they all have to do with this amazing cosmological microcosm that we are, and so it's a moot point, you know, because if it happened in history, well, that history is distancing itself from us more and more and more every day. It's the eternal Christ that we need to turn to. It's no use turning to whether Jesus did this or whether he said that or whether he was, you know, black-haired or golden-haired or blue-eyed or brown-eyed. It really doesn't matter. None of those the historicity of Jesus is not a concern for intelligent people at all, because the literary Jesus is glowing in their hearts every day, more and more. And that's the true Christ that has come. The Antichrist is the historical Christ. Rest assured, the Antichrist is the historical Christ, because it's destroying, they're killing each other. The Jehovah's Witnesses are killing the Mormons, and the Mormons are killing the other Protestants, and the Catholics are killing the Orthodox, because their Jesus is different historically from everyone else's Jesus. Whereas there's only one Jesus, and it's the everlasting Jesus of the illumined ones. And so it's just a moot point. And so these people who are arguing, oh yes, but Jesus died on the cross. No, he didn't. He lived to 57 and he went to Ireland. No, he went to southern France in the Languedoc with Mary Magdalene. Oh yes, but the Scottish have a tombstone to Jesus, and there's a tombstone in Kashmir, and there's another one in Japan, in the Aomori district. There's a tombstone to Jesus. Did he go to Japan? Where the hell did he go? Did he wear nappies, or did he wear a turban? Oh, you know, forget about it. It's all the gospels are different. All of them have a different Jesus. There's gospels in India. There's gospels in the Americas. There's gospels in China. There's gospels of Jesus all over the place. Shakespeare wrote some. I've written some. Everyone writes gospels.
It doesn't end. It just doesn't end.
Well, maybe it is the time to change all those names into the source. It's only the source. It has no name.
Yep.
I think it's naming of it that confuses everyone, borders, and creates as if like some people know God and some other people don't. If we want to call it the light, let it call the light of consciousness coming through us, and just let that be called that.
Yeah, no, very interesting, guys. No, that was very great. Next time we get together, Santos, I would like to talk with you about Freemasons, secret societies, the Jesuits, the Black Pope, more about astrotheology. There's a lot. Like in 2 hours, we always almost barely scratch the surface. There's so much to learn, so much to say.
Too much echo.
Is it echo?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all echo.
Sure.
I think it's the software more than anything.
The only one that's not echoing is Santos.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we just let him finish up. And
But you
because
see,
it's
Can I ask
almost
one more question about
Yeah.
the magnetic north? So at the North Pole, they have explored up there, and what is that? Do you have any idea what that would look like? If it's you know, the magnetic mountain.
I can guarantee you it looks like this. What you'll find always is this. There will be a dielectric inertial plane which has a center which is counter space. There. And there will be a torus field coming out from there as these lines of divergence. These are centrifugal lines, and they will come back into here, doing the same thing on the opposite side. And so what you have is here you have sort of an hourglass, the hourglass hyperboloid here. This will be Yggdrasil, the tree. Here, so you have a hyperboloid, and you will have a torus. Remember we said T, tor, so it's pretty much just those vowels change, the O and the O, the A and the U become O and O, but torso and torus, and this is the field that'll be our heart, and our head will be somewhere here, and feet will be here, and this is exactly how the Earth is. This is the dielectric inertial plane, and here you have everything going outward, diverging, and then converging back into itself.
One of the holy
And
books
so-
talks about the tree of life being in the center of the earth, and that's what they're talking about.
Yeah, that's the tree of life. That's Yggdrasil, for sure.
if it controls the sun and everything, it has to be the tree of life. No sun, no life.
I think it's spelt like that, Yggdrasil.
And could it be another Earth right underneath us, the opposite side?
Well, there are 7 subterranean. There are 7 above here. The Moon, Mercury, Venus, the Sun, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. 7 above, 1 middle garden, and 7 below, and that's 2 octaves. 1 octave below, 1 octave above. And as we escape this octave, then we actually escape these apples. We escape this system.
Isn't there 7
think-
notes in music also, or something like that? I think music has 7 notes, or
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
Yep.
Octaves. It goes up octave.
Which is
So do you think they
Yeah.
can see that physically?
is here. Yeah.
Yes.
In here, around this area, in the Arctic, what they call the Arctic Circle, there is paradise. That's the Garden of Eden. Here is the
sorry.
most perfect weather on the plane is here. The worst weather is outside of the Garden of Eden, where you have to work with your with the sweat of your brow, and the ground will give up its thistles rather than its fruits and vegetables. That's what it means in the Bible when God kicked them out of the garden and said, you have to go out of the garden and you will work with the sweat of your brow, and the ground will give up its thistles.
So does it
Here,
mean NASA is making a house right there? Vatican is making a house in heaven?
I don't think they have access to that region. It's very, very hard to... the people who live in here, mate, they will sort you out really, really quickly and get rid of you if you're not worthy. Only worthy ones can enter that place. And many worthy ones have gone in there and come out and recounted it. There's lots of Swedish and Norwegian and Russian legends about people finding this place and then coming back to tell others, and they end up in psych wards in hospitals. They end up getting killed by the government. They get silenced. This is Shangri-La. This is Mount Meru. This is Mount Moriah, Mount Sumeru, Mount Sumeru, This is all of those mountains of holiness. This is Mount Zion. This is everywhere where everybody wants to go. Paradise is right there, right here on the planet.
Mount Zion.
Yeah.
Who lives there?
Great people who are worthy. We obviously did something wrong not to be worthy to be living there. We have been cast out of the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
So people who have been alive for thousands of years are people who are born now.
Sorry?
Never mind. It's kind of a weird question. I was just wondering, are they born there, or are these like higher beings that live there?
Gee, I'm not sure, sister. I know that they live a better life than we do, and they are deserving of being there. And the reason why we are here there's a good reason. I know not what the reason is. Maybe it's a punishment, a lesson, or maybe we did it to ourselves for a certain reason, to learn certain things, to grow. This is probably a harsh place of growing, where the sun goes from tropic to tropic, giving us harsh seasons and good cheer and goodwill, but it's doing this. It's vibrating. The sun's going from Cancer to Capricorn, from the goat to the crab, and as it does that, we get confused as we go through the seasons. In the Garden of Eden, there are no seasons as such. There are 4 seasons, but they're one. They're 4 in 1, and so it's the golden age there always, and I guess we can deserve to go there if we, stop this slave trade and people trafficking that we're doing, which comes from the Venetians, the Phoenicians, the Canaanites. The Canaanites have taken over the world, and they've struck a deal with the subterraneans, your aliens, your so-called helpers, the Draconians and the Reptilians and the Anunnaki and so forth. They've struck a deal with these powerful families, and mostly those families are the families we hear a lot about: the Guelphs, the Ghibellines, the Contis, the Viscontis, Aldobrandini, Friscobaldi, Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, Hanover, Oppenheimer, Habsburgs, Bush, Rockefeller, Rothschild. They're all one black nobility mixture of Khazarians and Venetians. And Hyksos from Egypt, the people who conquered Egypt. Everything went wrong in the 19th dynasty. In the 17th dynasty, before the 18th. And so everything after the 18th dynasty was just a mishmash of corruption and good. It was a mixture. And that's when the Babylonian period occurred, in which everything from transcendental science became a material science. And then the Greeks did the same. They had Pythagoras and Socrates and Plato, and then they deteriorated into Aristotle and all the other monkeys with their material speculations, And so this is why Europe is Aristotelian. They're not Neoplatonic. They shut down the Neoplatonic schools. Justinian did that in the 6th century. His wife also took reincarnation out of the Bible, and he also changed the laws. This is where all this maritime law goes back to Justinian. He did three three terrible things to the world. Shut down the Neoplatonic Transcendental School, Hermetic, Neoplatonist. His wife removed reincarnation from the Bible, the doctrine of reincarnation, and they introduced glossa. Glossa is an all caps, capita diminutia maxima name, which is a dead person, which brings you into the law of admiralty, the law of the high seas, the law of dead persons. So not only did he do those three things, he did many, many other things, Justinian, and he was the worst emperor of all of them, worse than Constantine, worse than Nero, worse than Domitian. Diocletian was good. Julian was a great emperor. So was Marcus Aurelius and Antonius Pius and all of the Antonines, Hadrian, Trajan, and all of the 7 good emperors after all of the terrible Caesars. So there have been good emperors, but most of them have allowed Aristotelian materialism to flourish, and the spiritualist transcendental school of the Platonists and Pythagoreans, vegetarians. So the vegetarians were shut down, the true school, and the meat eaters, the materialists, were, supported by Rome because they're killers. Killing, murdering animals, murdering people is the order of the day.
Wow.
So I feel so blessed right now, just learning this information firsthand.
No, it was great.
I have chills from this.
Yeah. Who are the good guys? I'll show you who the good guys are. Here's one of my favorite Neoplatonists. This was about 100 years before Justinian. Sallustius, concerning the gods and the universe. Sallust, they call him.
Yeah.
So let's have a look. Can I read a bit of this?
Yeah.
Sure.
You got time?
You got all the time in the world. You know, people that are trying to make this world worse are not taking days off, so I don't either. I have all the time.
So let me just find a good piece. I could read from anywhere here, but just okay. Let's talk about the first cause. Since Ma said that we should call the creator the first cause, I agree. That's what Sallust, who was pretty much. What else have I got here? I just want to show you a few others. Oh yeah, okay. Here's a goodie. Macrobius. This is another book that should be read. Oh, yeah, Commentary.
Yeah, I saw you with that one before.
Okay, these are Neoplatonists. There was about a good 8 or 9 of them. And they are Ammonius Saccas, Plotinus, Porphyry, Proclus, Iamblichus, Sallustius, Macrobius, Boethius, Hypatia. Hypatia was killed by the Romans, by Theodosius. The Alexandrian library was destroyed. That was all Neoplatonic. It was all Neoplatonic, man. So let's have a read of that then, shall we? This interpretation is supported also by the season at which the ceremonies are performed. Now let's start from here. It's talking about the ceremony of some ceremony, but anyway, the spring equinox. Here we go. This interpretation is supported also by the season at which the ceremonies are performed, for it is about this time of the spring and the equinox when things coming into being cease to do so, and day becomes longer than night, which suits souls rising to life. Certainly, the rape of Kore is said in the myth to have happened near the other equinox, and this signifies the descent of souls. To us who have spoken thus concerning myths, may the gods themselves and the spirits of those who wrote the myths be kind. Next, the learner should know the first cause, and the classes of the gods subordinated to it, and the nature of the universe, the essential characters of mind and soul, providence too, and fate and chance, virtue and vice, and should see the good and evil constitutions arising from them, and whence it was that evils came into the universe, Each of these topics requires many long discussions, but there is perhaps no reason why we should not treat them here in a summary way to prevent readers from being completely ignorant of them. The first cause must be 1, since the unit is superior to all other numbers, and surpasses all other things in power and goodness. For which reason all things must partake of it. Because of its power, nothing else will bar it, and by reason of its goodness, it will not keep itself aloof. For if the first cause was soul, everything would be emanated by soul. If intelligence, everything would be intellectual. If being, everything would share in being. Some, in fact, seeing that all things possess being, have thought that the first cause was being. This would be correct if things that were in being only and were not good. If, however, things that are by reason of their goodness and share in the good, then what is first must be higher than being and, in fact, good. A very clear indication of this is that fine souls, for the sake of the good, despise being. When they are willing to face danger for country or friends or virtue. After this unspeakable power comes the order of the gods. So after the unspeakable power of the first cause comes the order of all the gods. So all the other gods are Rama, Vishnu, Jesus, and all the other named gods. This is why we shouldn't be confused here, guys. There's only one creator, cause, source, and then all the other gods are expansions of that one. Of the gods, some are mundane, some are super-mundane. By mundane, I mean the gods who make the universe. Of the super-mundane, some make the essences of the gods, some the intelligence, some the souls. They are therefore divided into 3 orders, all of which may be found in treatises on these matters. Of the mundane, some cause the universe to exist, others animate it, others harmonize it out of its varied components, others guard it when so harmonized. So we've got some that make it exist, some that animate it, some that harmonize it, and some that guard it. These are 4 operations, and you'll notice 4 and 3 make 12, and so you have 3 cardinal, you have 3 modalities in astrology, cardinal, fixed, mutable, and you have 4 elements: fire,
Do you mean
air,
7?
water,
7.
earth.
You said 12, but you mean 7, right?
No.
4 and 3.
12 at 4 times 3
4
is
times
12.
3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you have 3 modalities: cardinal, fixed, mutable, and you have 4 elements: fire, air, water, earth. And so these are the gods. These are 4 operations, and each has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Well, that's cardinal, fixed, mutable. The creators, and their superintendents, therefore, must be 12 in number. The creators of the universe are Zeus, Jupiter, Poseidon, Neptune, and Hephaestus. The animators, Demeter, Hera, and Artemis. The harmonizers, Apollo, Aphrodite, and Hermes. And the guardians, Hestia, Athena, and Ares, god of war. Hints of these functions may be seen in their images. Apollo strings a lyre. Athena is armed, and Aphrodite is naked, because harmony causes beauty, and beauty in things seen is not concealed. While these gods possess the universe in a primary way, the other gods must be supposed to be contained in them, as for instance Dionysius in Zeus, Asclepius in Apollo, and the Graces in Aphrodite. Further, we can see their spheres: Earth as Hestia's, water as Poseidon's, air as Hera's, fire as that of Hephaestus, Hephaestus. The 6 spheres, those higher, belonging to the gods to whom they are usually assigned. For we must regard Apollo and Artemis as sun and moon. There you go. Apollo is the sun. Artemis is the moon. Krishna is the sun. Radharani is the moon. Everything goes back to the sun and the moon. Everything.
That's why it's Apollo that went to the moon.
Yeah, it's an apple.
That didn't go to the moon.
Exactly, brother. Apollo is the apple. We live in an apple. Have you heard of the Big Apple?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
New York.
Not far.
It's big. It's bigger than New York. It's the dome above our heads. That's the apple of Apollo, the sun. We must give the sphere of Kronos to Demeter, and the ether again to Athena. Well, Athena, ether, Athena, ether. Does it sound the same? Yes, it does. While the firmament, wait a minute, what did I say?
Firmament.
What? The firmament?
Firmament.
Oh boy. How about this, eh? Firmament. While the firmament is common to all of them. Yeah, because when they turn around up there, the firmament belongs to all of us, that apple of Apollo. So in this manner have the orders and powers and spheres of the 12 gods been set forth and hymned. Oh yeah, we sing hymns to those gods. The universe itself must be imperishable and uncreated. Imperishable because if it perishes, God must necessarily make either a better or a worse or the same or disorder. If he made a worse, then he is bad. If he makes what is worse from what is better, if he made a better, he must have been deficient in power not to have made the better thing in the first place. If the same, that will be a purposeless creation. If disorder, why? That will not bear hearing. That is uncreated, even that I have said suffices to show. That it is uncreated, even what I have said suffices to show, because if it does not perish, neither did it come into being, since whatever comes into being perishes, coupled with the fact that since the universe exists because of God's goodness, it follows that God is ever good and the universe ever exists, as light accompanies the existence of sun and fire, and shadow that of body. Of the bodies in the universe, some imitate mind and have a circular motion, while others imitate soul and have a rectilinear motion. Of the latter, fire and air move upwards, earth and water downwards. Of the former, the sphere of the fixed stars moves from east to west. Notice that? The sphere of the fixed stars, the firmament, moves from east to west. These guys know their stuff, guys.
How do you know everything?
Yeah. Among the many reasons for this is the need of preventing the process of creation from being imperfect if the rotation of the spheres is rapid. This difference of motion implies a difference in the nature of the bodies. The heavenly body cannot scorch or chill or perform any other function of the 4 elements. Since the universe is a sphere, as it is shown by the zodiac, and the lowest part of the sphere being fullest distant from all points on this circumference is its center. The heavenly bodies move downwards and move towards the earth, and it follows that the earth is the center of the universe. Can you repeat that?
The earth is the center of the universe. I love that. Makes me feel like... Yeah.
This is the best Easter I've ever had.
Oh,
yeah, sure. Rock and roll, man. It's all in the Neoplatonic literature. Not the Platonic, the Neoplatonic, from the 2nd to the 4th, 5th century Rome.
Yeah.
All these things are made by the gods, ordered by mind, and set in motion by soul. Concerning the gods, I have spoken earlier. Mind is a power inferior to being and superior to soul. deriving existence from being and perfecting soul, as the sun perfects sight. Of souls, some are rational and immortal, others irrational and mortal. The former are derived from the primary gods, the latter from the secondary gods. So in my presentations, I always speak about the first god and then the demigods, the second gods. Yeah. So when you speak about the creator, you're speaking about Jehovah, the second god, the demon, the demiurgos. We're not speaking about prime creator. It's like a carpenter. A carpenter builds a house and he stands back and he says, well, I built that house. But he didn't build bricks. He didn't build the wood.
Exactly.
He didn't build the nails. Prime creator made those. So is he the creator of the house, the builder of the house? Well, yes, he is. But he's the second ordinator, creator of the house. He is the demiurgos of the house. He is not the prime creator of the house, because all those substances come from cause. We must first investigate the nature of soul. It is that whereby animate differs from inanimate, and the difference lies in motion, perception, imagination, and intelligence. Irrational soul is life with perception and imagination. Rational is life, controlling perception and imagination and employing reason. Irrational soul is subject to the feelings of the body and its desires and is angered unreasonably. Rational soul despises the body reasonably and fights against the irrational. If it is successful, it produces virtue. If it is worsened, vice. All right, let's leave it there because I can continue. We can do a little bit of this every time we.
Yeah,
but this is
no problem.
This is divine.
Yeah, but I'll get that book.
Sallust or Sallustius. Concerning the gods and the universe.
I will read that book, that's for sure.
Alrighty, so
thank you very much, Santos.
Yeah.
Really appreciate all the information.
Thanks, Ma. So there you go. So you see all the 12 named gods, the 12 titans, and then there's the 7, because where I tripped you up there, Jen, was 3 plus 4 equals 7. But 3 times 4 equals 12. And this is the holy number. The holy number is 7 of physicality, the Olympian gods, and the other holy number is 12, the mind of God, the titans. And 7 plus 12 is 19, and 19 is the flower of life. And the flower of life is according to the golden ratio, and the golden ratio is the hypotrochoid, and the hypotrochoid is a 2-dimensional version of the 3-dimensional hyperboloid, and the hyperboloid is the Taurus, the cow, the matter, the apple, Apollo, Baal, the bell. It's all the same stuff. You just got to know how to syncretize it.
Yeah, syncretize it.
Do you actually do a school, the Universal Truth School? Could I actually sign up for courses on there?
When I get help, all I'm asking for, I'm just sitting here waiting for help, people to come to my aid and help me. I will establish schools. The first school I want to establish is astrological. I want to teach people in 1 month, 2 hours a day, to be the most competent astrologers, syncretists on the planet. They will run rings around all the other astrologers. And I want to do that urgently now. I started doing broadcasts on YouTube called Tropical Astrology and How to Read the Chart. I'm going to restart that school on the 1st of May. So I'm asking the heavens, may people listening to this show pray to the heavens and help us so that we can have the best syncretism, the best astrology, the best schools on the planet. And I'm happy to do that.
On the planet.
The planet, yep. Yeah. Same word. Doesn't matter. We can reclaim those words, guys. We don't have to shun words just because others use them in the wrong way.
Right. Redemption is a must.
Yeah, Let's redeem the word planet, because that's what it means. It doesn't mean a ball. It means a plane.
That's right.
It's right there. Right there is the word plane, and that's what it is. It always has been. It always will be. So let's reclaim it. It's the planet.
Yeah, Santos,
Planet
how many students would it take for you to start your school? If it starts with 10 or 15, we can easily get that many.
I'm in.
Oh, yeah,
I'm in. I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Let's work towards it. It'll happen. I promise
Okay.
you it will happen. We will have the best syncretism school. Stay tuned. I would really recommend you go through all the old astrotheology presentations I've done, even though they're based on heliocentrism. Doesn't matter. It's the sine wave. Just focus on the sine wave. Don't worry about the shape of the Earth.
Yeah.
Study them. Learn all the biblical references that I've put. Check all the references, all the books that I refer to and promote in my presentations. Learn the sine wave. Take notes. Make notes. And get really good with it, because just through my astrotheological presentations, you will become, a side effect of that is that you will become a competent astrologer. Your eyes will open to how astrology works through the sine wave.
And your eyes will open to other stuff too, because that's how I came in contact with Flat Earth, is going through your stuff, going through other people's stuff. And no, it's just all linked together, so it's a give thanks for life, my brother, and I'm happy to have you here. Share the vibes with us, and we'll get together again sometime. We keep in touch anyway. We're always connected.
Yeah, brother, look, I'm happy to hop on here with you once a week, regularly, whenever. Just call me up, because the more syncretism I do, I live for syncretism. So if I drop dead in the middle of when I drop dead, it'll be in the middle of syncretism. So no problems.
That's great. That's great. So we keep in touch, and I'll get back to you soon, don't worry, for sure.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
What's up?
Jai.
Thank you. Take care.
Haribol. Jai Radhe.
Bye.
God bless.
Okay.
Oh, I love him so much. I am like so blessed right